Well, there you go again. As President Reagan shouldn't have said the other night.
That's right.
Look, before I start tonight, Barbara Walters said it's okay to laugh and applaud.
Hey, good.
I thought Barbara was a little tough on the candidates the other night.
Yes.
You know, when she looked at the president and says, "Hey, Wagon, you're over your limit." Okay, first of all, let's take a poll. How many of you saw the first presidential debate? I'll tell you. I think Reagan agreeing to debate Mondale was the best move since the Dodgers traded Steve Garvey. If you read the papers today and you've listened to the radio and television, I guess the consensus of most political experts is that Mondale probably won, but not by a big margin, won the debate. One of the problems was, as you know, in the East, the debate started at 9 p.m., which I think put the president at a terrible disadvantage. That's after his bedtime. I understand the president wants the second debate to be in soup slooper. In super slow-mo, so he can look speeded up. I don't know, anyway. Now, some of the critics thought the president looked a trifle old in the debate. Now, how can you judge that from Louisville, Kentucky, where they run the Kentucky Derby? Anybody over 4 years old is considered over the hill down there. Talking about a horse, you see. Actually, as you know, the debate was 90 minutes, which really wasn't time enough because nobody answered any questions, if you listen carefully. And that... Is that Newhart already? After they settled down, I thought the two candidates were pretty relaxed. But I think Mrs. Reagan must have been terribly uncomfortable crouching behind that rostrum for an hour and a half. The press people that asked the questions weren't bad. They asked them. I thought Diane Sawyer, for a moment, forgot what show was on when she said to Reagan, "Bachelor number 2, if you were a chocolate sundae and I was a spoon..." Did the debates remind you a little bit of People's Court? You knew one of them wasn't telling the truth, but it's hard to tell who. But I think... But I think Reagan's got it made now. He's not only ahead in the polls, he's now the underdog. Now, this Thursday night, you want to mark this down, is the debate between Ferraro and Bush, right? And Friday night is the mud wrestling match between Ferraro and Mrs. Bush. Did you see the statement attributed to John Zaccaro, Mrs. Ferraro's husband? Zaccaro said if Mondale and Ferraro are elected, he'll sit in on cabinet meetings. I think, if you ask me, he'd be better off sitting in meetings with his accountant. Never mind the cabinet. Anyway, yesterday was the big Columbus Day parade in New York City. 1 million people were in that parade. Cheering, of course, the famous Italian, Sophia Loren, who was... She was in the parade. Did you see that?
Yes.
And right behind her was George Bush. It's the first time he didn't mind bringing up the rear. Now, Mondale was there, Ferraro was there, Bush was there. The president, President Reagan, did not appear at the Columbus Day parade, and there's a reason for that. It doesn't look presidential, trying to avoid dog do. Well, there's another one. No. Little historical note. I suppose a lot of you know that. Do you know that Columbus was actually lost when he discovered America? Yeah, true. He asked the Indians. He says, "Which way to New Jersey? I have 3 shiploads of cement." Well, we have a situation here in Southern California that's getting a little tough. Disneyland strike. I guess today or tomorrow, the Disneyland people either have to come back to work or Disneyland says they're going to replace them. And unfortunately, violence broke out on the Magic Kingdom picket line today. Today, the police hosed down Pluto for hosing down a strikebreaker. It's just not a pleasant sight out there. Things from Minnie Mouse was arrested in a strip search today. She was charged for possessing more than an ounce of Monterey Jack. Well, turning to more pleasant things, as you probably know, the World Series is in San Diego tonight. Nice to see the San Diego fans get a break. It can't be easy living in a city that's in the main flight path of the Swallows to Capistrano. However, they have a system, I understand, during the game to combat that problem. Every 2 innings, a fan stands up and yells, "Incoming!" Padres, did you believe they would get into the World Series? I feel sorry for the Cub fans, but I will say they take things in stride in Chicago. You know what they said? Well, there's always next century. Did you see that scene in San Diego? The fans went absolutely bonkers down there. They grabbed the San Diego chicken, pulled him into the bleachers where he was forcibly plucked. And how nice for Steve Garvey.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Left the Dodgers. Not only did Steve have a great playoffs, but he makes extra money as the model for the Bob's Big Boy statue. Anyway, tonight, well, the monologue is over. Now let me ask you the question. Are you better off now than when you came in? I rest my case. Okay, tonight, a good friend of mine, and we'll have everybody here on the show, and one of the funniest people in our business, Mr. Bob Newhart. Here. Lovely, pretty actress who was on Silver Spoons. Erin Gray is with us tonight, and one of the truly fine. He's a marvelous artist. One of the fine clarinet players in the world. Richard Stolzman is with us tonight. So thank you for coming, and we'll be right back. Thank you. All right. You have your chance. Thank you. Good. Extremely discerning audience tonight.
Yes.
So you saw the debate?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know, it's wonderful how they can avoid answering questions.
Isn't that wonderful?
Somebody will ask you a direct question. Well, before I answer that, I'd like to point out that the unemployed... And you go on and you make your speech, and when you finish, you say, what was the question they asked? Anyway, I guess they're going to have another one on the 21st, and then Mr. Bush, I guess, will have a debate on this coming Thursday night. So we'll see what happens.
Yes.
There was a little item in what we call the trade papers here in Los Angeles last week. This Hollywood Reporter in Variety about our executive producer, Mr. Fred DeCordova. I don't know whether you saw it or not.
I did not see it.
Fred, as a lot of you probably know, has been in the entertainment business, as we say, a long time.
Yes.
He's worked with, he started with Ziegfeld as a stage manager. He's worked with Jack Benny, George Burns, Errol Flynn, Ronald Reagan. He directed, people think I make jokes about this, he directed Bedtime for Bonzo.
With Ronald Reagan.
With Ronald Reagan. He dated some of Hollywood's most glamorous actresses, including Joan Crawford, Ava Gardner, Lana Turner. And it was pointed out that he's going to write an autobiography. And he's represented by our good friend, Irving Lazar, who is probably one of the biggest agents in the United States. He represents a lot of authors and show business personalities. And Fred is in the process of selling the rights to his diary to help Fred promote this book, although he did not ask us to.
What friend that you are.
We were able to get a hold of one of his diaries. And I'd like you to read, I'd like to read.
Read for us.
Just at random. Yeah. I have marked some very...
Put some clips in there. But you did that this afternoon at random.
That's right, the cord of his diary. To show you what goes on.
It's a pretty book.
It's a pretty book, and these are just, as I say, at random here. Here's one here. I won't give you the dates on all these. Today I graduated from Harvard Law School. Did you know that? Yes. This training will come in handy for my life's goal, pointing at a Protestant for a commercial break. October 2nd, 1945. Chicago Cubs won the pennant today. They are a great team and should do it again real soon. Here's just one here. Bonzo under the weather. Yes, just penciled in here. October 26, 1925. Read an interesting item in the paper today. A 2-year-old baby named Johnny Carson couldn't make his baptism and had Joan Rivers fill in for him. Dear diary, spent an awful night last night after the Titanic went down. Soggy women and children, very heavy to throw off the lifeboats. Bonzo has a cold.
That's penciled in again.
Just a little thing. Yeah. The blackest day in history, October 19th, 1929. Stock market crashed, and at Chasen's, the swordfish was served to me overdone. Here's an interesting item. Watch the presidential debate, and there's no question in my mind as to who came out on top. Mr. Lincoln clearly had Mr. Douglas. Let's see. Bonzo has a cold. December 7th, 1941, a day that will live in infamy. My blind date turned out to be Gabby Hayes. Interesting item here. As I say, these are not in particular order. We just... November 8th, 1966. I had to fire my gardener because he sat around singing all day. I told him he'll never work again. Julio Iglesias. Bonzo fading fast. May 8th, 1943. Interesting here. Had a date with the Andrews sisters tonight. I received a goodnight kiss, got stood up, and scored. All three of them. Bonzo dead. Today I made a visit to departed Bonzo's mausoleum. About 3 more trips, and I'll be able to reach through the drill hole and grab the little guy's diamond pinky ring. Today I'm up in Northern California on vacation driving through the redwoods, which I planted as a boy. We didn't say this was not going to be cruel, friends. October 2nd, 1962. Today I had my first meeting with Ed McMahon. He greeted me with a hearty laugh and a handshake. Then he stripped to his shorts and dove into a vat of margaritas. One of my investor friends came up with a really good idea today. Fire. Dear diary, I'm a religious man. I feel that there is a God, and he lives in a beach house in Malibu. This entry from just last Tuesday, and we see we got...
Jumping around.
NBC tried to retire me, claiming my memory was starting to go. I threatened to quit the Tonight Show and take Jack Parr with me. Lost my temper today. Told Doc he didn't know how to play the trumpet. Told Ed he was a lousy announcer. Told Johnny he was a genius.
Taking it random.
There we go. Anyway, Fred is going to write a book, which should be fascinating.
And he has kept a diary for how many years?
He's been keeping a diary
52 years.
For 52 years on a daily basis, putting down. So he's going to write the anecdotes, and it should be. I wish you luck with that. And from time to time, we'll bring out some more exclusive.
At random, just taking it
from the decor of his diary. All right, we shall return in just a moment. Here. We are back. All right. That's all right. My first guest is a good friend. He's had an amazing record of successes on television. In the early years of CBS, he was on CBS. Then he had the show with Suzanne Plachette. And he's in the third year of the Bob Newhart Show. Busy, busy, busy. It premieres, what do you mean it premieres Monday? Oh, the season premiere premieres Monday, October 17th at 9:30 p.m. Is that on this network? No. Not on this network. No. Well, it's on one of the others. Yeah. This coming Saturday, he'll be appearing at a benefit for Seattle University. Would you welcome Bob Newhart? Was there any show I didn't plug? I went back to the early days on CBS.
Yeah. I did a...
You won an Emmy the first season you were on CBS.
That's right. Remember we shared... I was a co-host out here, and you were the co-host in New York. And I got a Peabody, an Emmy, and a pink slip from NBC. All in one year.
That is absolutely true.
In fact, that year, every show that was nominated, that won, had been canceled. Dick Van Dyke had been canceled.
There's something strange in the business, because that happened, I think, last year. Cheers won. Buffalo Bill was up for Emmys, and all of a sudden the shows are off the air. How do you explain that?
I don't, John. I got a winner now, so...
It's not your problem. Third year.
Third year.
That's amazing.
Third year. And I'm excited. We've done... I'm very excited about this year. We've done 11 shows, and they're all good. Well, it's fun. When it works, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, you're good.
You know, you hang around, you learn a few things.
You don't take compliments well, do you?
No, I don't.
That's true.
Right.
We've known each other, and if I say something to him, he begs off. Says, well, pretty lucky, and after all, it works, it works.
You're right. You're right, I'm good. I'm sorry.
That's all. You're really good. Did I?
Not only good. I mean, it's hard to think of anybody. Yeah.
I saw you in a movie the other night.
Well, when you turn down a compliment, it's really like getting another one. You know, when someone says, "Oh no," and you say, "Yeah, you're real." So you get two compliments instead of one.
It's a sneaky thing to do, and that's why when you give somebody a compliment, they should accept it.
Right.
Like you ever say to your wife, "Now women are good at this." You say, "You look really nice tonight, Jenny." And what do they normally say? Or, "I like your hair." Not really, or well, it's still a mess or something.
I'll say that, "Gee, I like that, and I like that dress," and she'll say, "I've only worn this about 12 times."
Yeah. No good deed goes unpunished, as they say. I saw you in a movie.
Of course, this is the first wife, in my case.
Of course. That's right. Not only good, but a streak of cruelness underneath the goodness. We're all made up of two different people.
Let me write that down.
What? Write that down. I don't come up with a real pithy statement too often. Kevin, are you trying to tell me something? We have to do a commercial, then we'll come back and you can hurt me again. Stay where you are. We'll be right back. We're back. We're talking with Bob Newhart, mild-mannered Robert Newhart. I did some jokes early in the monologue about the strike at Disneyland, which is really getting kind of rough. Those people are going to walk out.
Yeah.
You've worked at the Disney studio.
I did a animated voice, Bernard the Mouse in The Rescuers with Ava
No, I never
Gabor.
saw that.
Yeah.
You mean you played a cartoon character?
You come in, it's really interesting. You come in and you do like 5 pages, and then you come back a year later because it takes them that long to do the 5 pages you did. And you have these conferences, which I really wasn't used to, but they take very seriously. Like, say, okay, let's see, you landed in New Orleans, and you and Ava had flown on the back of the Albatross from New York to New Orleans. So you'd be kind of tired, I guess. So, yeah, I guess you fly from New York to New Orleans on the back of an Albatross. You're going to be a little... And then you rode the alligator up through the swamps. So, hey, you get a little fear in your voice, Bob, as you do. Fine, whatever you want.
We had some actors on a few years ago. We wanted to show what it was like when they dubbed the voices on cartoons. And I think we invited, it was June Foray, or, a lot of those people who do them, Paul Frees, we had a screen here. And they said with the dialogue. Now, it's the strangest sight to see distinguished people. He said, this white-haired gentleman sitting around as he's looking up there, and there's a beaver on the screen. And he is now doing the voice. He's never seen, of course. And this distinguished man sitting there saying,
yeah, I think I'll go over there and chop down the wood, and then...
Then he gets up and goes home and says, thank you very much. That's what they do, right? Yeah. And it's a unique art. Yeah. What kind of voice did you have for, if you can recall? Give me the fear and tired. What was it now?
Yeah.
Bianca, that was her name.
I hate to put you on the spot like this for a performance, but for this kind of money, of course, ask you to do a voice is not fair.
Oh, gee, Bianca.
That was about it.
Disney hired you for that? Now, you're never seen in the picture?
No.
But you just get credit. You get credit for
my
that.
My daughter, I have a 6-year-old, and she loves it.
She thought that was probably one of the finest things?
The same thing occurred to me during the Disney strike, because I pictured all the favorite cartoon people on the, voting on the strike, Because we've grown cartoon characters and...
Sitting around negotiations, you mean?
Well, they're going to call for the strike vote. It's, okay, we're going to go out on strike now. Anyone have anything to say before we go out? Over there. They can take this job and shove it. Thank you, Snow White. Okay, all those in favor of strike, raise your right hand. Your right hand, dopey. Okay, Goofy, you have a question? You do, but you forgot what it is. Okay. Tinkerbell, you want to say something? Oh, let's just get on with the strike.
Funny idea, negotiating. What did I say last week? I said something about one of the problems was they had a Pinocchio on their negotiating team. They're talking about terms, which is a little tough. See, when he lied, he got it wrong. Sometimes we spell it out and we do diagrams for the jokes. You had a birthday this month or last month?
55, September 5th.
55?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't ask you how old you were.
No, well, I'm not ashamed of it.
No, well, you look very good for 55.
That's why I said it. No, Ginny, my wife taught me that. She said, you should always tell your correct age, because if you lie about it, people are going to say, oh, boy, she looks terrible
for that. Yeah. Could even overestimate a little bit.
Yeah.
You could tack a few years on there, and then people say, gee, you don't really look it. Now, you're not the same sign. I don't even know much about that. I'm a Virgo. Is that good?
Well, I think it's good. Hey, I didn't have a hell of a lot to say about it.
Of course.
That was it. But I'm a typical Virgo.
No, what do you mean by that?
Very logical, patient, very patient. Married to a Sagittarius who's The marriage shouldn't last, according to astrology. It should not. It's last 22 years. Shouldn't have lasted a day because, well, Sinatra's a Sagittarius. That gives you an example.
Yes.
Very direct people. Whatever is on their mind, they say it.
Yeah.
And 22 years I've had of that.
Not easy, eh?
Straight ahead. And they don't mean to hurt. They're just saying, the best example, remember the Folgers coffee commercial where the wife serves the guy the coffee in the morning? And he's, worst coffee I ever had in my life, right? And she cries and she goes to Mrs. Olson, whatever.
Right.
It is, And she says, how do you make great coffee? Oh, it's very easy, you know.
It's a mountain good. Jumping with the coffee.
Now, if that were a Sagittarius, the wife were a Sagittarius, the guy would get the hot coffee right in the crotch. There's no checking with Mrs. Olson. And then ask him, how's the coffee today? Great coffee, great coffee.
I'm one of those people, I don't put much credence in astrology, to be honest with you. But I'm what they say on the cusp, whatever that means. Very uncomfortable, I know that.
I know.
Libra, Scorpio, October 23rd.
Well, Libra's, and I'll get letters on this, because,
Yes.
you know, this is a...
Give me the good stuff. I don't care about the bad stuff.
Well, there isn't that much good stuff. No, Libras can't make up their mind. But that's not you.
No,
Libras...
it's a Scorpio.
Scorpio's very secretive.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. They keep secrets. Well, I mean, you see, it's not an attractive animal. If you've ever seen a Scorpio, you know, it's
No, that's true.
kind of carries things, narrow hands, and kind of carries things.
You're not getting this from me.
So you think I have more of those traits?
No, I'm not saying.
Is that what you're saying?
You own the building. I mean,
That's what you're
you
insinuating.
carried away a few things over the years.
Managed to, yeah. I guess that's true. But when I see those things, I say, yeah, that's true. I am kind of secretive.
There are
private or...
I don't run my life. I mean, I don't stay in bed if I have a bad report that day.
Yeah.
And there have been actresses who have done that.
They won't go to work. They won't drive. They won't
take
make a
part,
phone. Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
Because their chart or whatever it is.
But there's enough instances of, I mean, I can see it in myself, and I can see it in friends that are Virgos and that are Sagittarius.
Yeah, but don't you think those are the things, qualities you can also have in any other sign? You pick out the ones that seem to fit you and reject the others.
Yeah. Well, all right, Rickles is Taurus the bull, all right?
That's more or less...
Taurus
Maybe there is some credence to this.
Tauruses love to stay home. They hate to travel. They love, and Don's like that. Don hates to go on the road.
Right.
Yeah. So there is something to it.
Oh, come on now. You really believe that?
I said, I don't run my life by it, but I've just seen too many instances of it being correct.
Well, there's no scientific basis for it, though. Is there?
No, I suppose not. Turn on me. I didn't, I just...
Didn't you read that about me? You didn't know I was going to turn on. Scorpios also turn on people when they don't believe them either.
No, if you were
I'll
true
tell you more
you
about
wouldn't
it,
have
but
said
I'm
that.
too secretive.
Yeah. See, you wouldn't have said that if you were a true Scorpio. You would have waited, and then when the show was over, you would have turned to Freddie and said, I'm going to get him.
The fact I did it openly like this must be some nice quality.
Oh, no, there are a lot of lovely qualities.
Well, I haven't heard any of them. All I've got is this so far.
Did that feel natural?
Yeah, I kind of like that. Yes,
I know,
I sleep that way at night, come to think of it. It's kind of a...
Well, that could be other things, too.
Loneliness is one of them, yes. Scorpios also have a tendency to be lonely.
Lonely,
and
yes.
sleep
Yes,
like this. Hoping that something will just show up. But anyway, what is it? End of this conversation?
Keep on going. This is going fine.
You want to put this night in your diary? So later on we can. Do you keep a diary, by the way?
No.
I can't do that either.
And I have a terrible memory. I just have an awful memory.
Somebody's going to come to you someday and say, "Hey, Bob, would like a book." And they've done that, and I said, "Oh my God, I haven't written things down."
Yeah.
I file them away, and I can remember things. If people say, "Do you remember the time that we were?" For example, if you said to me, "Remember the time we were at your house at a party and we were playing drums with so and so?" It flashes back very vividly.
Yeah.
You remember the night I'm talking about?
I remember it's funny with comedians. If you sit around and talk, eventually singers talk about how crowded it was and how great they sang. Dancers say it was the best leap I ever made. Eventually, comedians, if you talk long enough, will tell you about the time they died. Absolutely the worst death of any show they've ever done. It's something about the comedian that will. I don't remember the great ones. I remember the really bad nights.
Yeah, and they say that people have a tendency to remember the more pleasurable moments in their life, but you're right, comedians don't. They'll say, I did a show and so forth in 1952 at the American Legion Hall and really died. And why is that? Is self-punishing, you think?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, insecure. Are you insecure? Now they say Scorpios are also insecure. I read that today.
I never heard that.
Well, but that's what they say. Insecure.
No, Scorpios are very good friends. They're best kind of friend you can have is Scorpio.
Now we're getting
because you can tell him anything and he will not divulge it to
Of course, because we're secretive.
Yeah.
Let's take a break here, okay?
Okay.
We'll be right back here. Whatever you want. You're the Scorpio. Mr. Newhart just said to me during this break here that Erin Gray is a very pretty lady, and I hope that you don't do this when she comes out. So, thank you. But that is true. She's very lovely, most talented. This is her third year as co-star on Silver Spoons, which is on this network. Sundays at 7 p.m. Would you welcome Erin Gray? Won't act. Why are you nervous?
I always do. No matter what I do, every Friday night before the show, and they say, ready, roll 'em, let's go.
You get nervous?
Always.
But that's good, isn't it?
I think so. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't know how to do it unless you were nervous.
Well, Bob gets nervous if Jenny puts the shredded wheat in front of him. It's a little thing there. He's very sensitive. But that's true. It gives you a little...
lift, I guess.
We don't know each other well, and I don't read a lot about you. Are you secretive, too? Because I don't read you in the paper. Now, if I'm so secretive, how come I keep showing up in the papers all the time? I try to be private, but I read very little about you.
Well, I guess you could say I'm just a very boring person.
No, I don't.
No. I like to stay at home. I'm a family person. My son is in 3rd grade, so there's a lot of attention on homework and getting to bed and brushing your teeth and all that sort of thing. And we like to stay at home and have barbecues and be with friends and so on.
Isn't that nice?
I sometimes wonder, though, whether or not I should be more public. What do you think? Do you think a person should go out and...
I do not think, if you're thinking about, you mean your career?
Career-wise.
No, I do not think that attending a, quote, Hollywood party or going to a film opening...
Make any difference?
Makes absolutely any difference whatsoever.
Good.
Some people like that, they want to get their name in the paper, but I don't think it makes any difference if you went to an opening of a restaurant or if you were there.
Right, yeah. No, I like staying at home. And my husband, by the way, is a very secretive man. He's a Scorpio.
Really?
Yes. They're also, the sexiest sign in the zodiac. And the most powerful.
There is something.
I never got a chance to bring those in.
I noticed that.
I know, you left them for me to say.
Maybe there is something to this afternoon. Isn't it funny? Isn't it strange how people want to believe if it fits them, they will say, yeah. That's why fortune tellers and tea leaf readers are very good psychologists, because if you've ever had your fortune read or something, they will give you all of this. Mm-hmm. You're very strong, yet you're very sexy. You're sensitive and you're kind, and you sit and say...
All those things.
All those nice things, yeah. So your husband's a Scorpio?
Yes.
Yeah. Where'd you meet him?
High school. We did this once.
Really?
Yes. We're the high school lovers.
Isn't that nice?
Yes.
Did you know when you were going together in high school?
No, never. No, I mean, I knew that I loved him and I cared about him.
Even in high school you knew that?
Passionate about him. Yes.
How would you know that in high school now? You had to be 15, 16 years of age.
I'll tell you how, because I think love is based on instinct, not knowledge, mental or emotional, just passion.
Right.
I think there was something instinctive that I knew that I had met somebody that I respected, who has the best ethical values I've ever met to date.
Yeah.
And somebody who cared about me, and I cared about him. And based on that, you got married. I mean, at least we did. I mean, there was also the passion, the sex, and the love to go with it,
Yeah. So you're saying it's instinct?
Three instincts.
Instinct, yes.
Well, I like to think that I have good instincts also. It didn't seem to work in that case.
Well, are you sure that's why you got married? I mean, it wasn't for some other reason? I mean, well, let's...
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
you get married because I think you think you're in love at that time, whatever that elusive word is.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty good definition.
But also, I mean, I don't think that anyone should ever think of marriage as something that lasts forever. I certainly didn't.
Well, I certainly didn't. But it's nice if it does.
Yes, I mean, I sort of
It's
took
nice
it
if
day
does.
by day. You know, let's not put any expectations. I don't have to have so many kids. Our marriage doesn't have to last so long. I mean,
Yeah.
just take each day, each moment, and deal with that, and each problem as they come up.
That's
one
a
at
good way to
time.
look at it. Yeah, Dave. Are you Irish, Erin? Of course you must be, Erin.
Irish, English, Scotch, German, French, Welsh, and my mother says a Spaniard got in there somewhere. I think that's the black Irish she's talking
Really?
about, the Moors who took over Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sort of an American mongrel.
Turned out beautiful.
Ah, thanks.
All right. We have to take a break? Let me take a break. We'll be right back. We are back. We just have a minute or so. This is your third season, right?
Yes.
On Silver Spoons. You enjoying it?
Very much so. We have a new star joining our show, Alfonso Ribeiro. I don't know if you know him. And Pearl Bailey has guested the show a couple of times. And we have a couple really wacky, way out scripts this year. And I certainly hope that you will tune in for our Halloween show because it's really fun and crazy.
You know, I get the feeling after talking with you, if it all ended tomorrow, it wouldn't make much difference in your life. I mean, at
That's
the show
right.
or something, you would go
That's
right
correct.
on. That it's not all important that you be in front of the camera or be in the entertainment business.
That's right.
That's a good attitude.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's important is relationships.
Thank you.
How do
Yes.
I didn't mean
Guys,
that.
well, but you're absolutely right. Ed and I have a wonderful relationship.
See what I mean? Yes, exactly. And you have a wonderful
Yes, I
relationship.
do. With my wife.
With your wife.
About 22 years.
Oh, 22 years.
And you're the 6-year-old, I understand.
6-year-old owner.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Your children have kind of spread out, aren't they, over the years?
21 through 6.
That's terrific.
Incredible.
Not the brightest people in the world.
Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.